Hey everyone, this is a Pilates video. It's not going to be very long. Truth be told, I'm really making this for my mom, but I hope that more than just her gets use out of this. So put on something comfortable, find a mat, and enjoy. Thank you. Lie on your back with your legs stretched out in front of you. Plant your feet in the mat, bend the knees, and place your hands on your lower abdominals. We're going to start to wake up our lower abs by lifting our lower back high off of the mat and then pressing it down, closing that gap between our lower back and the mat. As you inhale, lift the lower back. As you exhale, press the lower back into the mat, using the lower abs to do this. You should be trying to lift your lower back as high off of the mat as possible, and then pressing it down so that there is virtually no gap. Start to tiptoe your feet so that your legs are extended long. Feel your lower abdominals as you do this, and tiptoe your feet back close towards your butt. Keep doing this, only going as far as your lower abdominals can support. Make sure that your lower back doesn't ever lift off of the mat. Think of this as a warm-up for your lower abs. Hug the knees into the chest. Try pointing and flexing alternate feet, stretching the ankles, rolling them out. Carefully walk the feet out. Pull the knees in towards the chest, keeping the lower back flat. Use lower abs to lift the tailbone about an inch off the ground, and then finish by walking the feet back out. Repeat that entire movement. You can press your hands flat on the ground to help yourself lift your tailbone up. Just try not to rely on this too much. Make sure that your lower back stays flat as you walk your feet out and pull your knees up. And you can build on this by keeping your feet lifted off of the ground the entire time, kind of smoothly extending them long along the mat. Last one. Hug your knees to your chest to recover. It might feel good to pull your knees away from your body and then use your arms to pull your knees closer to your body. Moving on to our next exercise. Tap your left toe down, followed by the right, keeping that lower back glued to the mat. Take this as quickly as you need to. You can even begin to straighten the legs to make this a little bit more difficult. This is known as the single leg stretch. Each side one more time, and then hug both knees to the chest. Rock the body out side to side to get a little bit of a massage for your lower back. Let's wake up the upper abdominals. Bring your chin about fist distance away from your chest and lift your shoulders off of the mat. Lower back down and then repeat the movement. This might kind of feel like a typical sit-up. Extend your arms and take an exhale as you lift up using your abdominals. And on your next lift, hold and begin to pulse your hands up and down about an inch. Take short staccato-like breaths. Inhale for 5 quick pulses, and then exhale for 5 quick pulses. If you want to challenge yourself, you can straighten the legs. Focus on your breathing here. You should be feeling a lot of heat being generated in the core. Make sure that your lower back has not lifted. We're almost done. Stay with me. This is called the Pilates 100. Hug your knees to your chest to rest.
Feel free to invite a little bit of movement into the body, maybe swaying back and forth. Start to glue the lower back down onto the mat and extend the legs straight into the air, arms overhead, and then hug the knees to the chest. Repeat these movements. Inhale as you shoot out, exhale to stretch. Maybe bring the legs to a 45-degree angle, and maybe start to bring the chin to the chest, shoulders lifted slightly off of the mat. Keep going at this, and for the ultimate challenge, try to shoot your feet out as low to the ground as possible without touching the ground. Remember to keep your core planted firmly on the mat. Lower back is flat. If your lower back is lifting off of the mat, then don't shoot your legs as far out. Maybe start with just straight up into the air. Inhale, shoot out. Exhale, stretch. Inhale, shoot out. Exhale, stretch. Let's do one more. Hug the knees to the chest, rest the head down, shake out the ankles, and relax. With one hand holding either knee, start to draw little circles with your knees, using your hands to guide you, and then switch the direction of the circle. Start to open and close the knees, using the hands as a guide. Keep the knees at a 90-degree angle in the air. Hug that lower back down to the ground and extend the arms out to the side, palms facing down. Start to twist the knees side to side, so we're just gently rocking back and forth. Use your hands as an anchor. Let your upper body be really heavy as your knees float effortlessly from side to side. Keep in mind here that we're using the side of our core to initiate this movement. Hit each side one more time, and then let your knees rest on the right side. Right hand goes on top of the knees, left hand goes behind the head. Start to crunch to the side, crunching up, feeling our obliques work. Next time you crunch, hold for 3 pulses. Try to initiate this movement from the core instead of your head or your neck. Let's do one more set of 3 pulses, and then switch sides. Left hand on the knees, right hand behind the head. Start to crunch up. Let's work those pulses in. 3 pulses at the top now. Last one. And relax. Bring your knees back to the center. Hug your knees to the chest. Straighten your legs nice and long and point them like a ballerina. Use your hands to walk yourself up your legs. Keep your neck relaxed as you hold and begin to pulse. Feel your upper abdominals really working here. Alternatively, you can keep your knees bent. 2 more pulses and then hug the knees to the chest. Let's do one more set like this. This time I'll show you what it looks like to keep your knees bent. You can use your hands as leverage to make it a little bit easier, but for more of a challenge, extend your arms long. Rest the legs down, bring the feet to the mat. Straighten the legs out and bring the arms overhead, point the toes, and then carefully start to flip over so that we're lying on our belly. Hang out in Sphinx pose for a moment. Rest your elbows underneath the shoulders, extend the palms in line with the elbows, and relax the toes down. Lift the chin softly. Option to deepen the stretch by pressing into the palms and straightening the arms. Rest your elbows back down and extend the arms, chest down. Lift the right arm up and the left foot. Lift as high as you can for 3 pulses and then rest it back down. Left arm up, right foot up. Pulse 3 times and rest back down. Other side, pulse and hold and lower. Switch. Keep alternating sides, pulsing for 3 pulses as high as you can. Do 1 more on each side. And then rest one cheek down on the mat. Lift back up into Sphinx pose. Bring your left arm into the air and try to reach for it with your left hand. It's okay if you can't grab it. You can try using a yoga strap to help you. Find a nice quad stretch here. If holding onto the foot is no problem for you, then try to lift the knee, pressing the pelvis into the mat. Feel a contraction all along that left back body. Release the foot from the hand and come back into Sphinx pose. Bring the right arm into the air, reach for it with your right hand. At first, just give it a good stretch. Then latch on with your hand. Try to lift the knee as high as you can. Lower the knee down and rest the opposite cheek on the mat. Now we're going to reach for both feet with both hands and to do generally the same thing. Lift the knees off of the mat as high as you can. Feel that bend in your back. Keep your pelvis grounded into the mat as everything else lifts up. Relax back down, one foot, one hand at a time, and then rest your forehead down on top of your palms or on your forearms. Bring your hands beside your butt, place the palms face down, fingertips pointing towards your toes. Really dig the tops of your toes into the mat, and then use your palms and your toes to lift your chest off of the mat. Squeeze your back and hold as high as you can for 3, 2, and lower back down. Rest a cheek down on the mat. We're going to do all of that one more time. So bring the hands by the butt, palms face down, dig the tops of the toes into the mat, and then lift your chest off of the mat as high as you can using your back. Lift a little bit higher and relax down. Relax your opposite cheek on the mat. We're going to roll over onto our right side. So you want your elbow, your shoulder, and your hip to all be in line with the back of the mat, and then your feet to be together in the front corner of the mat. We're going to smoothly lift the top leg up and then lower down slowly. Lift and slowly lower down. Now your top hand can be used for stability, but try not to use it. Try to use your core. Pay attention to your foot. Is it flexed? Is it pointed? Is it turned in? Is it turned out? Lift one more time and try to lower down as slowly as possible. Hold the foot at hip level and start to draw slow circles with the foot, with the ankle. Keep your eye on the circles that you're drawing, and take note if there's any part of the circle that isn't fully round. Work on creating a true circle and not a square or an oval or a blob. Put the brakes on the circle and then switch directions. By now, your leg is probably on fire, which is a good thing. We're going to draw one more nice, slow, careful circle. And then rest the foot down. Use your fist to hit your glute wherever it was feeling the burn. Lift your foot back to hip level and carefully kick it to the front, and then with control, pulse it back 3 times. Kick to the front, with control, heel back 3 times. As you go through this, try to keep your core relatively unchanged, nice and stable. Lead the pulse backwards with your heel, activating your glute. Rest your ankle down, and then bring your knee across the mat over to the side. Rest your chest face down in half frog pose. Make sure that your knee is at a 90-degree angle and that your foot is flexed. Feel the hips start to relax here in this passive stretch. For a deeper stretch, inch those toes out so that your leg is straight. Make sure that the foot stays flexed.
hips pointed down. Start to come out of the stretch. Press your hands underneath your shoulders to lift yourself up, and then switch over so that you're lying on the opposite side. Make sure that your shoulder, your elbow, and your hips all line up with the back of the mat, and that your feet are together in the front corner of the mat. Use your core for balance, and then swiftly kick your top leg up, lowering it down slowly with control. If you find yourself shaking, unable to balance, then you can use your hand on the ground for stability, but the goal is to not use it at all. Last one, make this the slowest lower down yet. And then hold at hip level at the bottom, begin to circle it out. Make sure that your circles are actually circles, not ovals, wiggles, squares, or anything like that. The slower the circle, the more intentional you will be able to be with your muscles. Switch directions. We're almost done, feeling the burn for sure. One more circle. Rest the foot down and lightly punch it out with a fist. Lift the foot back to hip level and then kick it in front. Pulse it back 3 times, leading with the heel. This is a lot for our core to keep stable as we move, so try to be intentional with using your core. One more rep. Rest the leg down and then bend the knee across the mat. Come into half frog again. Let your hips grow heavier in this pose. If you want, you can straighten the leg, foot is flexed. Come out of the stretch by bringing the leg back to meet the other leg. Use your hands to help yourself roll over onto your back so you're lying face up. Bring your knees to a bend and walk your heels as close to your butt as possible so that your fingertips are brushing the backs of your heels. We're going to drive our hips up by pressing into the heels, lower down with control. Pressing into the heels to drive up, lowering down one vertebrae at a time. Keep repeating this movement. This time, drive your heels up quickly and hold at the top. Really squeeze your glutes and your hamstrings. I like to tap my muscles in order to kind of wake them up. Make sure that they're activated. You can do this too.
Keep holding and then extend your right leg into the air and do little pulses pressing into your left heel. If this is too difficult, then just do the pulses with both heels on the ground. Do a couple more and then switch. Left foot into the air, driving with your right heel. Straight up and down. A couple more, and then rest the heels down. Slowly lower one vertebrae at a time. Hug the knees to the chest. Bring the heels back down, set it up for another glute bridge, drive through the heels, lift the hips up, only this time, step your heels out about another foot distance apart, and then walk them in. So we're digging our heels in, toes are lifted, and we're going to call this a hamstring bridge. You can add to this by extending one leg up into the air while the other leg heel is digging into the mat. This is really going to work your hamstrings. If you need to just stay in a glute bridge, that's perfectly fine. If you're able to, walk your heels out, dig the heels in, lift the toes, and hold this hamstring bridge. Step the heels closer to the butt and then lower the hips down. Pull the right knee in towards the chest and then try to straighten it. It's okay if it's not perfectly straight. Grab either the back of the shin or the thigh, but not the back of the knee. Flex the foot and stretch the hamstring. For a deeper stretch, you can straighten the left leg along the mat. Bend the knee and then bring it across the body for a gentle spinal stretch. If it's all right with your neck, then you can look in the opposite direction. Bend both knees again, and then extend the left leg, grabbing the back of the shin or the thigh but not the knee. Find a little hamstring stretch. Deepen the stretch by straightening the right leg along the mat. Bend the knee and bring it across the body over to the right side. Use your left arm as an anchor, and if your neck is able to, look to the left. Carefully untwist yourself. Hug both knees to the chest, and reach your arms in between your knees. Grab your big toes with your index and middle finger, and come into happy baby with the feet flexed, knees bent, deep hip opener. Feel free to rock back and forth. Maybe start to straighten the legs. Maybe one straightens at a time. Just try to have fun here. Do try to keep your lower back flat with contact on the mat. Bring the knees together, hug your knees like you love them. Try to give them a kiss, and then extend the arms overhead, straighten the legs long on the mat, and close the eyes down. Let the arms float to the sides, palms facing up. Rest here in final relaxation. You can stay here in this relaxation for as long as you'd like. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.